Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show. We are just past the halfway point in the second hour of our show. We've met some great filmmakers, and now we're turning our attention to something that kind of affects all of us. Cancer is something that no matter who you are, I'm sure you know someone who's been affected by it, your family has been affected by it, maybe you yourself has been affected by it, which is parts of the storyline of a documentary that is showing here at the Sundance Film Festival, RX Early Detection, A Cancer Journey with Sandra Lee. And if you're not too familiar with the name Sandra Lee, she's a chef on TV that some of you hopefully have learned maybe some great recipes from as well. But this documentary is emotional. It's an emotional journey because cancer is not easy to talk about. It's not easy to deal with. And this is Cathy. You are the director of this documentary. You were there along for the ride when Sandra was given the news, and you followed the journey. Mm-hmm. How difficult was that for you to watch the process? Because this is raw, this is uncut, this is real.
Yeah, it was an extraordinary thing because Sandra was, you know, she's sort of this picture-perfect, semi-homemade recipe, Food Network, Good Morning America host, and she was given this news right after shooting a People's Most Beautiful issue. She gets off the set and gets the news that she got this. And I had just started running her production company. I'm a television producer, not a documentary producer, but really this was just sort of like taking a story and making it longer than you would for a television show. She was very shocked, but she went into, I'm going to interview everyone, get the best information I can, and make the decision. She wanted sort of a how-to, and this is what we sort of did every moment, every interview with every doctor. Her long-term partner is the governor of New York, Governor Andrew Cuomo. It's moments with him, which you usually don't see him in sort of a soft setting. And the decisions that they made as a couple on getting a double mastectomy, which was her choice. Every woman makes different choices with this, but the documentary has the entire surgery. And what we see is that it's not a death sentence as it was in the 60s and 70s, but it's still it's a tough, emotionally draining, physically draining process. And we were hoping that we could sort of get awareness out there. My pink for today, breast cancer awareness. It's that a lot of medical experts disagree on when you get tested and what you should do. But the one thing everyone does agree on is that early detection will save your life. If they catch it, they can prolong your life and you will be okay. If they don't, that's the problem. And so Sandra's message is just for women in greater numbers. Younger women are getting breast cancer. So the sooner that they get tested, the better. And that's really the message of our film.
How old was Sandra?
Sandra was 48. And it was interesting because she wrote an editorial for the New York Post and some other publications at the time because the American Cancer Society was suggesting that women wait until 50. Now, I was also Robin Roberts' producer at Good Morning America. In both of those cases, had those women waited till 50, the news may not have been as good as it is now. They were in their mid-40s. They had detection. They took the, different roads of treatment, but roads of treatment to eradicate the cancer. And so Sandra felt strongly about not waiting until 50, and she did put that in an editorial. And there is, as I said, there is a lot of controversy regarding that. People think, well, I don't have it in my family. 90% of women with breast cancer do not have a family history, which was one of the things that we learned in this process, and we certainly learned a lot. But the one thing that we learned most closely was be your own advocate and get tested, because Sandra became an advocate after this, and she and her partner, Governor Cuomo, based on Sandra's experience, Governor Cuomo put a law into New York called the No Excuses Law, whereby women, there's no copay for a mammogram, and the hours are extended from 7 to 9 in the morning to 7 to 9 at night,
awesome. So
that they can get more access and not have the financial strain of having to go get it. That's why it's called No Excuses, because some women say, women are busy, they have children, they have jobs, but this, without, they won't be around if they don't do this. So that's that's what they did.
Early detection is so key. I never really share this with many people, but my grandmother had breast cancer and passed away when I was 3, so I don't even remember her or know her, and they treated it so differently back then. And it's something that my mother and I were very cautious, because again, I know that you say 90% of people, it doesn't even run in the family, but nevertheless, it's there, it's in our family
and if
history.
it runs in the family, it's super important.
You definitely need to even be more diligent about it.
Without
so
question.
That I'm really looking forward to going on the emotional journey, because I just know for my family and the stuff my parents dealt with going through that process, it's probably going to be eerily
It will
similar.
be tough for you.
Yeah.
A lot of people have said it was hard for me to experience it, and my own father was diagnosed with cancer in July, and one thing I learned from this film was do your research, find everything out. I got him the best of care. He was the most amazing man in the world, and 1 hour before our premiere, I got the call that he had died. And this was the day before yesterday. But he wanted me at Sundance because he said, I need you to go, I want you to go. I had had him in home hospice for a full month before I moved from New York to Philadelphia and cared for him with my mother. And until I left, he was completely conscious, and then he was not conscious, and they called me, and I literally said goodbye to him on Skype on the way to our premiere. And so I know that he wanted me to come here and to spread this message, and he was so proud of the film. And I know I'll look back on this as a very surreal experience having been here, but I do feel his strength, and I know that his message was the same. And you know, with cancer, as you said in your intro, it touches everyone's life in some way or another, and there are so many treatments and advantages out there. But the awareness in getting it earlier, even with Dad, you know, we had him for another 6 months. We wouldn't have traded 5 minutes of any of those 6 months. So it's really about awareness and educating yourself and making sure that if you're a caretaker or you're a friend to someone who has cancer, Sandra had such a supportive family, her partner, I mean, not everybody is partners of a governor and can change a law, but her sisters and her daughters, and it really became, they say that people can grow further apart or closer together. They grew closer together. So there is sort of a little silver lining in these things, and certainly the law, and we're hoping that other states make it easier for women also to get tested, because as I say, it is the universal truth that if they catch it, they can help get rid of it.
They've had a lot of advances in medical science. And by the way, I'm so very sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Thank you.
For being here. And I do agree that this is where your dad would want you to be.
Absolutely, without question. With a young lady originally from Pennsylvania who went to Temple, which is where my dad went.
Oh.
Dad, that's such a wink from you. I know it.
Make me cry.
I know.
As for Sandra, how is she doing health-wise?
She is doing great. I mean, she's vigilant about taking care of herself and making sure that everyone we meet, from a waitress to a Secretary of State, have you had your mammogram? I mean, she is most definitely she's a hard worker, and this has just become another one of her passions. She was always about sharing secrets with women. When she started her career and was giving brand names for recipes, they said, you can't do that, you can't. And she's like, well, it makes such a difference if you use this brand or that brand. Now, I don't make toast, so I don't know, but she's a huge fan base and they care. So she just said, this is what I'm doing, and she's always sort of been that way, and so with this, she didn't hold anything back about her experience, and it's raw and it's very tough at times to sort of see it, but I think you know, there's nothing sort of pretty about breast cancer. It's something that is a struggle and has a lot of challenging parts to it, and she wanted to make sure that that message got across, and she did not hold anything back. I mean, I had a small handheld camera, shot the entire thing in the hospital, in their homes. She gave us full access, gave me full access. People are talking at Sundance about their production teams. It's like me and this tiny little handheld camera from the year one. But we were so blessed that HBO picked it up, and the amazing Sheila Nevins and Lisa Heller and their team at HBO, because they believed in it and they saw it as an important message also. And they're just a very supportive group of women. I mean, I know there's a lot of men that work at HBO. Our experience has been knowing a lot of women, and they just did a beautiful job with us, and we were really grateful to be associated with them.
Lastly, where can people see this? Where are the screenings during the Sundance Film Festival?
The screenings over the Sundance Film Festival, we have one today, and then there is one Friday and Saturday. I forget the names of all the theaters. I'm so sorry. I don't have that. But it is showing.
I do have it right here. Yeah, Wednesday. It's a part of the documentary shorts program too. It's showing Wednesday at Redstone, Thursday Broadway 6 in Salt Lake, and Saturday at Holiday 1. So there's a few more showings left. There's 3 left.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for those names, Brittany. I knew it was showing on those dates.
You're welcome. And you can always check out Sundance.org too to get a full run through. Cathy, thank you so much for joining us this morning and sharing this wonderful story. With everything that you've been through, though, I'm really glad that you came in today.
Thank you. I'm very happy I did as well.
And you two are making a difference.
Oh,
this is definitely a story that's hard to see, a documentary that will be difficult to watch, but one that will be life-changing, I'm sure. RX early detection. It's also something that can help you prepare for anything that you face from a cancer standpoint. Maybe learning about family members that are dealing with it kind of really helps you get prepared for what you need to know. Really good research tool. Also, of course, too, it got picked up by HBO, so you can check that out coming up in the very near future. They're actually airing it during Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October, so you can see it in HBO as well. We will be right back here on the Mountain Morning Show.